So we haven't seen a lot in the way of flashbacks in Toriko, and this one, it really isn't very long, but I thought that it gave you a lot of important information on the history of this world.
Toriko, Gourmet number 61, within firing range.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic tale of Toriko. Our last chapter saw us with, of course, Toriko getting some background and some history and well, really the readers getting some history into this this so-called ingredient, the God ingredient, and he finds out from this mysterious four-armed mosquito straw-sucking man that obviously there is a little more to Gourmet Corp than the fact that they're looking for this God ingredient for their master. So, and that his appetite is growing ever stronger, and that pretty much within the next couple of years this eclipse is going to happen, allowing some, all, maybe one, maybe none, to actually find this ingredient. So that Acacia was told to have found 500 years ago. So the chapter ended up and left us hanging with Toriko and this mysterious man, I guess you would call him, whatever he is, the man with the straw, about to fight and go head to head. That's where the chapter leaves off, and this one's kind of cool because it ends up the volume, and actually it started out in a flashback with this Acacia, and I thought, man, what a way to end a volume. Really, we're going to have a flashback chapter, but it was done very well, and it's only like a half and half type of thing. The first half of the chapter focuses solely on this flashback, and it gives us some background into the world as it is today, and how it came to that point. Technology and everything else prevailed, and there was this was prevalent, I guess I should say, and there was this huge century-long world war between all, obviously all of the nations and the countries, and it was all just about like killing each other, and it was all over food. It wasn't about religion or politics or expansion into other territories or ideologies. It was about food, and so it was kind of neat to see this whole thing transpire, and obviously the world is probably decimated or in ruins, several parts of it. And then you go and you see through a series of panels, Acacia, who is now an old man. He's obviously discovered this ingredient, this God ingredient, brings a plate of prepared food to each one of the world's different nations' leaders, right? And just says, hey, listen, I just want you to try this. I just want you to try this. And it's funny because the first one's like this sultan or something like that. And he's just like, really? I don't have any time for this. He's like, we're in the midst of a war and you want me to eat food, And then there was another one where it's like, how many nations have we destroyed this week, So you can see that the mentality of everybody at this point, until Acacia kind of swooped in and saved the day, was really just kill, 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 kill. That was the mentality. And it was neat to see that this food, this ingredient that was then labeled as the God ingredient, was actually so powerful that it made people just forget about why they were fighting and about fighting in general, and really made them want to go and come to the table with their enemy even. There's one of the world leaders is like, hey, no, get everybody in here, come try this. Matter of fact, invite the enemy over too. And it really goes to show you that regardless of what type of war, what type of ideology, or what you're fighting about with people and everything else, many times things can be solved in a simple way. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to say that food can solve everything, but because food is kind of the climactic high point, the center point, the spotlighted thing in this particular series, food, it's only natural that food would be something that brings everybody together. But ultimately, if you look at it, though, in a lot of different ways, there's been a lot of great things that have been solved by two countries, two tribes, two whatever, coming together around a table and sharing food. You know what I mean? It really truly is, breaking bread. I mean, that's where that whole term comes from. You know what I mean? I broke bread with you. I sat down and ate food with you. I brought you into my home. So in a lot of ways, it does draw some similarities and some parallels to real life and the real world. Obviously, this world, we're not as focused solely on food, but it is really kind of cool to see that, and to see that this 100-year war was ended by Acacia, and just kind of his simplistic but forward-thinking way of doing things. Just, hey, listen, let everybody try this, and and it'll be good to go. So then it goes, and the flashback ends with him more, basically he's older now, he's this old man, and he goes and he's going to seal away his full course meal along with this God ingredient, so people won't get so greedy see over it, that they'll start to fight over it and stuff. That's what I'm assuming, right? But nonetheless, though, he's going to go and seal it away, and then maybe, you know, he explains maybe some, you know, a great gourmet hunter or someone, you know, in the future will be able to go and unlock that, you know, in a time that's needed. And, you know, it just really kind of a very cool, I don't know, almost, here we go. He says, I pray that someone with a generous heart will obtain God again. So I really thought that it was kind of cool the way that was done, and it was like I said, it wasn't huge flashback, I don't know, 6 or 8 pages of the chapter, but really I thought that it was nice, it was profound, it gave us that background and that backdrop, and I know a lot of people have told me some really great epic chapters are coming up, and I think this is good, because for me, the last chapter and this one have been 2 of the best, because although the action hasn't been heavy at all, the content has been there, and it's really delivered, and it's really built that world, it's built that history, and it's made it so much more rich and vibrant and inviting to me, and colorful, even though it's a black and white manga. So, but I use the word colorful. So anyway, then it winds up Toriko and the Straw Man, or the Mosquito Man, wind up then kind of getting into their fight, and we see several pages of that, and Toriko goes and he just goes and leads with his tenfold Kugi Punch, man. He's just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's go at it. He's like, tenfold. So as he goes to do that, the Mosquito Man goes and takes his straw, and he goes and blows something. I don't know if it's just air, or if he's blowing some food out or what, but whatever it is that he winds up blowing out at Toriko when he goes and comes in with that. And remember that punch, it's 10 punches that hit in succession, one harder after another, and create like a shockwave vibration that comes, you know, that comes out and just annihilates anything in its direction. And he just obtained that too with his evolution, of course, in the Regal Mammoth arc. Prior to that, he could only muster up a 5-fold Kugi Punch. So now it's, you know, twice the power, double the pleasure, double the fun. But he winds up, it blows them both off of this rock that they're fighting on, but really what it winds up being is that, you know, his bazooka, whatever he calls it, this Mosquito Man, and then, of course, that tenfold Kugi Punch, they're very evenly matched is what it is, you know. And Toriko goes and he's thinking in his head, and he's just like, man, you know, and he's thinking to himself, this guy is very evenly matched with me. Maybe he's up on the same, you know, combative level as Starjan was. You know, this guy's the real deal. He already knew and predicted what I was going to do and my moves and everything else. And it's funny because then there's this moment where it's like Toriko realizes that he's greatly overpowered and that he may lose, but he also doesn't plan on losing. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm overmatched, but I honestly think that I have the power to kind of rise to the occasion and be able to overcome that adversity. And if you think about it, that's another real great life lesson. Trust me, when I was in the martial arts, there was guys that just by all accounts, I mean, you would have bet your money on beating me in a free fight, or, you know, or in a sparring type of match. But I was a smarter fighter, and a lot of times I would go and I would look and I would find weaknesses. And even though I was just kind of a tall and skinny type of person, there was times that I was able to take on a stronger, better equipped, bigger opponent, faster opponent, really just by utilizing some of the different skills that I had learned, and really just the desire to not want to lose. That was a real big thing for me when I was a teenager, and you know, I just a lot of troubled teenage angst. And one of the biggest things was, you know, is that it wasn't so much I wanted to be a badass, it was just like, I don't want to lose. You know what I mean? I don't want to lose, you know? So it was pretty much one of those, like, you know, overcome bigger and better opponents, just because of the fact that my desire, my will was more than that of the person that was better equipped to, you know, to fight, I guess, or to win, you know, that particular battle. So I thought it was really cool. And they wind up, you know, Toriko goes and he's farther away from the guy over here, the Mosquito Man, and the Mosquito Man goes and starts going, and from a distance, he's like, yeah, your weakness is, you know, you have to get in, you know, obviously your range, you have none. And Toriko, we know he doesn't really like throw anything or whatever. Everything he does is all just like, you know, punch in your face type of maneuvers. So this guy starts going and fire these things out, and he's cutting up, he's slicing up Toriko, and they're not damaging him too bad, but overall it's one of those things where Toriko's like, but they're all hitting me, you know. So at the end of the chapter and at the end of the volume, Toriko goes and just kind of gets this like sly smile on his face over here, after they, you know, like I said, they're going to wind up coming at each other over here, and he realizes that he's been holding back. And I don't know, the way it was explained, it almost sounds like because you know, because he ate the BB corn, I don't know if it's maybe because he still got a desire to eat more, or maybe it just kind of made him a little bit lax or something like that because he was full cool. But it says here, you know, what does it say here? In extracting the BB corn, Toriko hasn't been exerting his full strength. If anything, he had been gentle. And then I was like, let's get down to business. Toriko knew, and then I like this, that not just his spike punch, but also his fork and knife were about to undergo an evolution. And I thought that was neat how it was. And the thing that I took from it was almost like the BB corn, I don't know, maybe like because of eating that and like he was more relaxed. And like when he came at him with his tenfold Kugi punch, it wasn't everything that he had. You know, it was almost like a half-hearted attempt. You know, it was almost like, yeah, I'm just going to beat this guy and move on. He wasn't really giving his 110% that he normally would with things. And I also like, too, the evolution and the fact that now we're going to dive into the next volume, and obviously they're going to, you know, they're going to go toe-to-toe over here even more, and that, you know, we presume that his fork and knife are going to evolve as well. So, very cool chapter. Nice way to end up a volume, I think, and we'll be digging into volume number 8, of course, in the next one. But my chapter question for you is, folks, what are your thoughts on, let's just focus on the flashback now, 500 years ago, and this Acacia being able to go and bring all the world's leaders together, you know, under the guise, of course, of giving them this God ingredient to taste. I mean, this shit must be good, off the hook good, right? Good. So, but what are your thoughts, I guess, on that flashback, and of course, what was told as far as the different types of, you know, just the war itself and everything like that that was going on, a century-year-long war. I just kind of want to hear what your thoughts are on that. So weigh in, brothers and sisters, and leave it in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Do you like giant naked female titan? Come follow me on Twitter and Facebook and see what happens.